paid for a vaccine. Your thoughts on this, Representative Ron Reynolds from Harris County, paying people or individuals $100 each without any questions asked to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I think it's a very creative way to incentivize the population that has not got a vaccine yet. This is life-saving. I think this is a great resource. Other states have done it to get their numbers up. So this is a great way to use some incentives to get those who haven't gotten the vaccine yet to consider getting the vaccine.
Absolutely not. There's no such thing as a vaccine. It's an experiment. And so people are being paid $100 to be a lab rat to go ahead and take this experiment. And there's no way in hell that I would take $100 to be anybody's lab rat.
Dennis Furley, your thoughts on what Tex had to say and the situation of paying individuals $100 to get the vaccine?
You know, interestingly enough, Isaiah, I've had this conversation all along on my page. I've taken the vaccine. My children have taken the vaccine. I'm comfortable with it. I trust science. I trust medicine. Only 14% of the world population has had the vaccine, and many of them would love to be able to take it, along with other vaccines like mumps and measles. So the bottom line is, it's your choice. If you don't want to take the vaccine, fine. Here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to stick to that. If you get COVID-19 and you haven't taken the vaccine, don't go to the hospital. I want you to stand 10 toes down, as we say in the hood, tough it out, tough guy. Because as what we have going on right now in Dallas is that there are children who can't get to the ICU because it's filled with children who have COVID-19. Now, to no fault of their own, because children don't make that decision. But the Dallas County judge says that they're at capacity. And so if your child gets sick or your child gets in a car accident, and what that means is you got to wait for one of these other children who have COVID-19 to get better or even worse. And I don't want to mention that, in order for your child to get treatment. So my thing is, hey, your body, your choice, as the lady say, but you stick to that. You be responsible for your decision all the way out. You don't have to.
Amen. Amen.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App, make sure you contribute to the PayPal, make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks. My name is Dennis Furley. If you've been involved in an accident, call me and I'll fight for you. I'm not an actor or a celebrity spokesperson. I'm a real trial lawyer, and I'll appear before real judges and real juries on behalf of people with serious injuries. So when I say I'll fight for you, I mean it, and I'll back it up. If you've been hurt in an automobile or 18-wheeler accident, contact me toll free at 866-529-2444, and I'll fight for your rights. Now about to welcome Dr. Andrew Holmes. Thank you so much, Doctor. How are you today?
Great, great. I had to rush to get here, but I'm glad I made it on time.
No problem. Thank you so much. Now, look, you gave some great information, I don't know if you know what I've been dealing with, but I've recently appeared on Fox News, and this is the type of stuff that I'm dealing with. This is the misinformation that's out there. It's basically it's just causing people to make decisions based on fear. And the reason that we have you here today is because I want you to kind of dispel some of this stuff. But this is pretty much what I'm dealing with, right?
People that are endangering the lives of so many Americans. I step forward during the vaccine because I'm a patriot and an American. I stepped forward when I had no idea what they were during the trial. I didn't know what they were sticking to me in my arm, but I love this country, and it's the least I can do. We have people that step forward to storm the beaches of Normandy, and this little coward is saying, oh, I won't go to the hospital. Of course he won't go to the hospital because he's a little embarrassment and a little titty baby, and everyone should be angry at him. Everybody should know about children dying. We just found out the government has tested positive for COVID. Maybe that even 1 second, Charles. Shut up, Tex.
Yeah.
Shut up. You're killing people. You're embarrassing, a coward, and a liar. I want to be on the show, Isaiah.
So, hey, then don't come back. We don't need you, buddy. You're being angry.
Oh, you do me? No one wants to watch you. You're a little lying coward. You die. Shut up.
People are being tested and coming up with
That's not true. The vaccine trials ended. I was in it, liar.
Charles is not an international man.
Try some more, please tell me what. It's not a vaccine. Yes, it is a vaccine. No one. You're stupid.
I deal in this ring of
That pretty much sums up what's going on the internet. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of people. First, BGS Idmore, who's a very popular YouTuber here, and he's and then also Dr. T.S. Johnson, who is a professor of Africana Studies over in the Cal State system. So you guys are homeboys, actually.
Okay. All right.
But in the meantime, like what we try to do on this page is we try to focus on issues that affect Black Americans, specifically Black men. And we've just been getting I've been getting just a barrage of misinformation. I post something up about the latest statistics, and then bam, you got all these conspiracy theorists. And it's pretty much summed up in that conversation that went on between Chris and Tex. Now, Chris, of course, the guy that was the bald head guys, he's actually an attorney. And this other guy is a rodeo clown. I mean, literally, he's a rodeo clown. But it just kind of sums up the fact that everybody's an expert. I know BGS has been fielding questions. Dr. T.S. Johnson gave a great discussion about how he's noticed, just in counting the bodies, Black American men have experienced a lot of death, and a lot of they're dealing with a disproportionate amount of death. So.
Dramatization.
After a car wreck, you may have to fight with a highly trained insurance company rep whose job is to knock your damaged claim down and out. It's a bad idea to enter the ring alone against a trained boxer, and it could be a bad idea to fight against a big insurance company by yourself. When the bell rings, attorney Dennis Sperling will be there to fight for your rights. If you've been seriously injured in a car wreck, call me, attorney Dennis Sperling, at 866-529-2444. That's 866-529-2444.
I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is. Yeah. If you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy. No need to scream and yell like a little kid. Yeah, no yelling. My daddy will fight for your rights. Yeah, fight for your rights. If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy or attorney Dennis Sperling.
Hello, I'm attorney Dennis Sperling. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy.
Because this is
So
not
I got a question. I have a question from somebody in the super chat. This is attorney Brian Ponder. He says, Dr. Jones, thank you for the great info broken down where it can be well understood by the masses. Question, how would you compare a healthy COVID-19 survivor to a vaccinated person in terms of immunity and antibody status?
So healthy is one of those things, because like I said in my podcast, everybody thinks they're healthy. But if you're talking about a person who great weight, no comorbidities, they had COVID or confirmed with relatively mild symptoms, their immune system is actually better than the vaccine. And like I said in my podcast, I don't like seeing these things because people pick that and run with it and say, oh, well, I don't need the vaccine then. But then you get COVID and you die because you thought you were healthy and you weren't. But to answer your question, as straight to the point, a person who's naturally immune. And the reason for that is because your body makes an archive. Like when you're exposed to a virus or bacteria, your body makes an archive of millions and millions of possibilities after it resolves the infection. It makes a library of how this bacterial virus will look the next time. So that even if that virus or bacteria changes its shape or something, your body jumps in, attacks it, and gets rid of it very fast. And the vaccine cannot replicate that. There's no respiratory vaccine that's the same as natural immunity. And that's just for respiratory. There's other exceptions, but as far as respiratory, like coronavirus and the flu and so forth, there's no respiratory virus that's better than natural immunity.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Doc. Dr. Johnson, would you like to ask Dr. Jones a question based on what you've experienced here in the internet or whatever?
Well, absolutely. And first and foremost, I want to thank you, Dennis, for having me on. And I really wanted to thank Dr. Jones for your work and taking the time to talk to us about this. I really do appreciate it.
I'm gonna ask a question from the chat room in the super chat, and then we're gonna go back to BGS for any more questions. Brian Ponder says this question: should COVID-19 survivors be treated like vaxxed citizens when it comes to being placed in different or state governments? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer the part of whether or not the Constitution and the state allows that. And then the doctor, maybe you can answer whether or not it's practical or not, whether or not there's a difference. John Marshall Harlan, in a Supreme Court case from 1922, wrote that the General Powers Clause, it falls within the police powers for them to be able to do that, for them to either order you to take vaccines or govern where you can go if you haven't or if you haven't. Now, they balance that with the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, or the amendment, it's designed to keep the state from infringing on your rights. But in a case where the state has a strong public interest in protecting the public, they can then usurp your personal rights under the police powers. So if the question is whether or not the state can enforce these passes, they can't. Yes, they can. They have the right to do that. Now, the question that Attorney Ponder was asking, the question that Attorney Ponder was asking is whether or not there's a need, based on what he says, survivors may be treated like vax citizens. Can we treat survivors like vax citizens? In other words, since they have the same immune response, since they have the immunity, should we be treating them, or does one have more immunity than the other? What's your response to that? Who is it safer to be around? A room full of people who have had COVID-19 and got over it, or a room full of people who've been vaccinated? Which room would you rather enter into?
The one who had COVID and got over it.
Oh wow! Is that because, as you said earlier, the national immune system is really the best?
Yeah, but that answer, like I said, it can be misconstrued. It's not that you can't get COVID from a room of people who have natural immunity.
Yeah.
It's just that their immune system is going to work a lot faster to get rid of COVID as opposed to somebody who was vaccinated.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that a person who's vaccinated is any worse off. I mean, they're still good. I mean, the numbers for people dying are a lot better than they were last year.
Okay.
The way it's looking is that the Delta case is going to peak before flu season hits. So that's a good thing because then we can get those cases out of the way. They're not going to be head on like last year. So Delta should peak in the next few weeks and cases are going up. So it'll peak.
When you say peak, what lets us know that? Like, how does that determine?
When the cases stop rising and they start like plateauing, like
okay,
you know, like 10,000 new cases, 10,000 new cases, 10,000 new cases every day, then you're like, okay, they're peaked and they should slowly start coming down.
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is. Yeah. If you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy. No need to scream and yell like a little kid. Yeah, no yelling. My daddy will fight for your rights. Yeah, fight for your rights. If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, returning Dennis Sperling.
Hello, I'm attorney Dennis Sperling. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy, daddy.
Okay. Well, one of the things I recently also talked about on my particular show on YouTube is an article that came out from Harvard's Gender Psi Lab, where they were focusing on the number of Black female deaths. But even in that report, they identified that Black males were dying in significant numbers, far more than Black women and any other gender sex group. And we've been hearing this since last year. I mean, we know that Black males have lost about 3 years on their life expectancy just from 2020 alone and whatnot. So I'm just wondering, from a medical standpoint, what do you think the reasons are behind why Black males are dying more than any other group, and what can we do about it?
Oh, that's an easy answer, and it's been brought up even by, surprising, Dr. Fauci brought it up, because when a white man says something, it can be controversial, but the way he explained it was on point, so he didn't get a lot of feedback, kickback on that. The reason being is that Black men, we don't take care of ourselves. We don't exercise. We don't watch what we eat. A lot of fatty foods. We don't go to follow up to the doctor. Black women do more so than we do. So they go to their yearly appointments, their pap smears, their checkups, their breast exams, colonoscopies. They do all of that, and they follow up. As a result, Black men, we make excuses. Oh, we're tired. I feel fine. I'm good. I'm healthy. I have nothing to worry about. My dad didn't go to the doctor. Why should I go? But so my grandfather didn't go either, but he died at 57 from a stroke, unfortunately, and left, people behind. So that's the reason. And the only thing that's going to change is just counseling and getting people to realize that, hey, you know what? Going to the doctor doesn't mean you have a problem. It's just to make sure, just like you get your car, you're checked up every 3,000 miles for the oil. Like the car's probably fine, but at least you want to make sure it stays fine. And that's the reason to go see the doctor. You don't wait until something's wrong to go see the doctor. You just want to make sure everything's fine so you can live a long, healthy life.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
I will scream and I will holler. Then I'll scream and holler some more, saying absolutely nothing.
You have a choice in legal representation. And in making that choice, Do you want an attorney with a made-for-TV nickname to represent you in your serious car wreck claim?
I will growl, kick, and scream.
My name is Dennis Sperling. If you've been involved in a motor vehicle accident, contact me toll-free at 866-529-2444. The choice is yours. This is something that I found striking. You signed 100 death certificates for people with
COVID. That's why I was depressed last year. So yeah, I did.
Yeah.
How does that affect you on a human level, Doc? I'm given the choice between helping this kid who was in a car accident or helping this person who'd gotten sick and refused to take the vaccine. There's human factors that people weigh in who they dedicate their time and energies to. Is there something to that, or am I all off?
No, that's actually true, and that's not anything new. That's not new. That's been happening in medicine for decades. That's nothing new at all. And the thing behind that, and
hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you. It's only your contribution. And your contribution to keep this.
What's up, everybody? This is Dennis Sperling, also known as Uncle D. To the homies, man. What's cracking, man? I hope y'all enjoyed your weekend. It's the weekend after the Christmas holiday, and money should be on your mind. We got a new year coming up, and because the new year is coming up, I know money's got to be on your mind. It should be. It should be on your mind. It should be on everybody's mind. Here's the thing, man. A lot of you all can get money, and then you'll turn right back around and lose it. How many athletes they were rich and ran through $25 million, ran through $40 million? It makes no sense. You can't even feel sorry for them because it's just stupid. Tisha Campbell, I mean, she was a co-star with Martin on the famous show in the 1980s. Martin Lawrence. She's complaining because her husband left her with $4 or $5 during a divorce. Hell, he was probably broke too. If she had $4 or $5 in the divorce, he probably had 6 or 7. What we're looking at is a systematic issue. We're looking at a systemic issue. We're looking at a mindset that causes for you to go broke. One of the major mistakes that people make is they try to impress people who have less money than them. What kind of car you drive, what kind of clothes you wear. And after a while, next thing you know, you ran through $3 or $4 million. I want to spend $50,000 on airfare in a year. $50,000 on airfare. Thank God I was able to write it off, and still. So imagine how much you can spend if you're buying Louis Vuitton and Gucci and the most expensive furniture, the most expensive houses, you're renting apartments that you can't afford. Imagine that. Imagine how much money you can spend doing that. Not money that you're investing, but money that you're basically just turning right back around and throwing back in the system, and you're not getting any return on it. Imagine that. So what I want to talk to you all today is about the sicknesses that's pervasive in the Black community called a poverty mindset. Not all of us have it, but enough of us do. So much so that that's why we often remain impoverished. There are 5 major symptoms, 5 major things that are holding you back. Your lack of ambition, the fact that you're pessimistic and self-pitying. In other words, you're always a victim and you never think you're gonna come up. You're deeply jealous of other people. You're a hater. You make decisions based on fear. And you focus on what you don't have instead of what you do. And those 5 reasons will help you determine why or that you do have that poverty mindset. Now, it took many years for me to realize that what I was doing was actually on point. It took me really many years to realize that I couldn't do it by myself. You have to build relationships. You have to be able to motivate and inspire other people to do your work for you as a team member. And then you have to know how to counsel them. You have to understand how to pay them properly, compensate them. You have to know how to build relationships, and those relationships have to be built on trust. There was a movie out with, called American Gangster with Denzel Washington. And he talked about trust relationships. Yeah, it was a gangster movie and it was a Hollywood movie, but the bottom line is mutual respect, shared values, and trust. That's a rich person's mindset. How can you cultivate relationships based on that if you're a hater? And you also have to be willing to help people with no expectations of return. How many of y'all can give freely? How many? Not many, because you're too selfish. And that's why you're broke. That's why your mama broke. She taught you. And that's why your kids and your kids' kids are gonna be broke. Selfish. Now, until we actually get over that mindset, nothing's gonna change. You can get $1 million today and be broke next year or soon thereafter. One person that I look up to is Warren Buffett, also known as the Miracle of Omaha. He still lives in the same house that he lived in his whole life. I'm sure he has other homes. But for the most part, this 80-year-old man, I might be 90 by this point, built his business investing in stock, taking risk. And because of his willingness to accept risk, his mentality, he was at one time at least the richest man in the world. And then the Microsoft, Bill Gates took over. But one quote he said was, one thing that I remember that he said that sticks out in my mind, if you want to become rich, you got to find out what people want and give it to them. And that kind of goes along with giving people with no expectation of return. I oftentimes cultivate the young lawyers in my office and I teach them and I give to them and I train them. And the reason that I do that is because when I do that, they eventually say, well, hey, what more can you teach me? And they can then begin to help me. But what we're going to do first is we're going to take the opportunity to break down those 5 principles, okay? And I'm going to read some stuff to you. And then what you guys do, take what I'm reading, okay? Take what I'm reading, and then we're going to move on from there. The first point and identifying whether or not you have a poverty mindset, because that's the first thing we need to do. Is the first point I brought up was lack of ambition, right? And this is what an article I read said that. And a lot of people will tell you, you have this, you have that, but they don't give you they don't give you examples of it. Lack of ambition. You lack ambition. People who struggle to create abundance in their lives often have very limited dreams and goals. So if you don't make plans, find it difficult to picture a better life, tend to settle for whatever is offered to you, or often nurture a kind of apathy towards your personal development, you may very well have a poverty mindset. There are all sorts of reasons why you might lack ambition, low self-esteem, and negative messages in childhood, but the result is the same. You end up limiting your own potential and attracting more of the uninspiring things you've already experienced in life. Basically, the energy that you put out is what's going to come back to you. That's the last part of that. And the first part of that says that you lack ambition. In other words, you should want to do better. You see, you shouldn't want to wait around for somebody else to give you a handout. That makes no sense. You should want to get out there and do better. You should be determined to succeed. If you don't, then you may have a poverty mindset. I know we got somebody in here. Saeed, how you doing, brother? Hello, Saeed, are you there?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. You jumped in kind of early, but that's cool, man. I'm going to go over these 5 points as I'm speaking with everybody. Basically, I said you're broke, your kids broke, and your kids broke too. The poverty mindset. Basically, what I'm trying to explain to the folks here is that this is like a disease. It's like a family recipe that's been passed down from one generation to the next. And the way they need to figure out if they have this disease, this poverty mindset, is to analyze themselves. And I'm going to break this down in Ebonics terms. But before I get started, go ahead and chime in and tell us, man. Tell us, I mean, this is a broad subject. Mm-hmm. Do you understand the poverty mindset? If so, do you have the mindset? If you have, are you trying to break it? And what steps are you taking to try to break this poverty mindset?
The burger. Yeah, I most definitely think that it stimulates from childhood. It probably stimulates from, whatever took place within your home. You know, people tend to repeat what they were taught or what they grew up seeing. So I'm assuming that it probably developed.
Do you think in your home, were they pessimistic and self-pitying? Is that, did you see any of that?
Oh, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Deeply jealous, or as we call in the Black community, haters?
No, not jealousy and envy and all that, but definitely poverty. Mm-hmm. Definitely poverty. In terms of how life was, single parent situation, and
but see, the thing is, bro, all of that, and I get all of that, but the point that we're trying to do here is we're trying to break that cycle. You see what I'm saying?
Of course.
So give me 1 minute. I'm a vet. Brian Nelson, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Brian Nelson. I'm good, man.
How you doing today?
Good. So we're talking about the poverty mindset here, and we're trying to talk to people about identifying and how you go about eliminating. What are your thoughts on this subject? So you can speak broadly. This is just an introduction.
I'm not really prepared to speak right now. I'm kind of sitting out, listening to you. Not really prepared for any questions.
Okay. Well, give me a minute. Let me go through the rundown, and then I'll get back to you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sitting here listening right now, trying to catch up. But give me a few minutes. Let me catch up, and I get back with the answer.
No problem. All right. So we got Saeed and Brian in the bullpen. Basically, what I was saying was, in the second process, you are pessimistic and self-pitying. To be clear, we all find it difficult to deal with bad things that happen. Okay, so basically what this is saying, folks, is that anytime something goes bad, you see the worst of it. You don't see any daylight. You don't see, I see opportunity. I see opportunity. I saw opportunity when this whole COVID-19 thing hit. Well, actually, it started for me way earlier. Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005. Thereafter, we had a hurricane that hit Houston in 2017. At that time, I decided to go all remote with my office procedures. My staff has laptops. We do, if you call my law office right now with a car accident referral, basically what's going to happen is you're going to get a live person who is located elsewhere. And that person is going to take all your information, whether it's insurance or whatever. One of my staff members is going to get an email with that information, and we're going to move forward and treat your case just like you call my regular office. And they can do that from home. They can do it from a cell phone. They can do it anywhere. All right. So a lot of lawyers moving forward now to COVID-19, a lot of law offices, and I just use my law office as an example. A lot of law offices and attorneys have gone out of business. And the reason they've gone out of business is because this situation, they saw it from a pessimistic sort of self-pitying, like, woe is me, as opposed to looking at it as an opportunity. Now, I looked at the situation in 2017, when that hurricane hit. Instead of looking at it, I can't go to work for 7 days, I looked at it like, well, this is an opportunity. This is motivation for us to innovate. And that's what we did at my office. So instead of looking at a situation like an atrocity or a travesty, I look at it as an opportunity. Now, this particular blog says, to be clear, we all find it difficult to deal with bad things that happen to us, and it's not a crime to experience grief, sadness, anger. In fact, all these emotions promote growth and push towards lessons that help you create better future. For people with a healthy abundance mindset, people who don't have that poverty mindset, yeah, they see it as positive. But people with that poor mentality, that pity, oh, woe is me, everything in the world is coming to an end mindset, that's going to crush them. All right. Now, here's another thing. It says also, however, a common characteristic among poverty mentality is a default position of helplessness. That's just what I said. You may find yourself asking, why me, on a regular basis, viewing yourself as a victim who has no power and control. Look, you're either going to be a victim or a victor in this world. You can't be both. All right. Bad things happen to good people all the time. Don't take it personal. Use it as an opportunity. Just like I always use that jiu-jitsu reference. You take that, you're in a submissive position, but you can win from that position. The other thing, you take that momentum and you use it to reverse and make a positive out of it. That's another thing. Let me see. So that's another aspect. So the first thing we've gone over is this, and I want to be clear. You lack ambition. Look, you got to hustle. You got to get out there. You got to make things happen. Nobody's going to bring anything. Nobody's going to bring anything and lay it on your doorstep. And if they do, it's probably a trap, and they're probably going to benefit more from that than you will. So what I'm trying to say, you got to get out there and get something. If there's nothing out there, if there ain't nothing out there dying for you to eat, you got to go out there and kill something. You got to go out there and make it happen. You can't get a job, then you got to go ahead and make yourself an opportunity. Make your money making opportunity. There's plenty of money out there. That's an abundance mindset. If you think the only way you can get money and feed your family, then you're going to be broke. You see what I mean? If the only way you're going to get money is to get a job and you can't find a job, you're going to be broke. But you should always be hustling. You should always be thinking about new sources of income, new revenues of income, because there's different incomes out there. But you're not going to get it sitting around. You have to be ambitious. Furthermore, as it says, the next step here is pessimistic. Your attitude, right? You're pessimistic and self-pitying. Bad things happen. You just compound the bad thing because it's already bad, and then you make it worse because you get that helplessness thing going, and that's just not the right mindset to have. The second thing I want to talk to you guys about is this third topic, which I brought up, and it says this. It says you are you're a deeply jealous person. Now this is pervasive in the Black community. We always talk about crabs in a bucket. That's all that means. You're crabs in a bucket. You see somebody else coming up, you can't have what they have. You want to hold them back. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, you know, that's a problem, and that's what's keeping you broke. And I'm gonna give you a breakdown. When looking at a rich mentality versus poor mentality, experts often note just how much the poor mentality is defined by intense jealousy. You might constantly compare yourself to others. Now, how many of you all have looked on Instagram and you more worried about what this one has and what that one has, as opposed to being happy with what you have? You're looking at, and some of these ladies all the time, they see other women and they got the snatch waist and the body that's looking on hit. You see the guys, you see the young rappers and whatnot with their nice cars and whatnot, and you're constantly comparing what they have to what you have, and you want what they have, as opposed to being happy with what you have. Not saying you have to settle for that, but what I'm saying is you're not content with what you have. You want what they have. You want their lifestyle that they've created. You might constantly compare yourself to others, wanting what they have and believing they don't really deserve it. That's another thing. How many of you all know people that see basketball players and say, oh, he's just a dumb jock. He's worth $100 million. Oh, the real heroes are the soldiers of the United States. The real heroes are the firemen and the police officers. In other words, what they're saying is these athletes, these high-paid athletes who sacrificed their bodies and all their lives and took the chance on becoming a pro athlete, they don't deserve it. That's jealousy. And those people have a poor people's mindset. And I'm saying, not that we don't, appreciate the great work that men and women in armed services do, and not that we don't appreciate what our civil servants do, but damn it, those are jobs. They took those jobs, and we appreciate those jobs. But this man's job, what is it, 1,200 basketball players or 1,200 football players all together? Well, we got 1 million cops. We got 3 or 4 million soldiers. Those jobs are easier to do. Yeah, it's a lot of risk compared to it. But the bottom line is people are willing to pay for that, and they want the best of the best. I don't want to get too far into that, but being jealous of what some other person has, that's a poor person's mindset. And comparing what you have and then assuming that they don't deserve it, and they got it. You see what I'm saying? And you worry about what they have instead of getting their own. If you have a particularly entrenched poverty mindset, you may find a reason to be jealous of virtually everyone you meet, paying more attention to this pathological envy than you do your own strengths or what you want for yourself. How many of us know that? You're so worried about what they have, you're not focused on what you have. It could be as simple as a woman says, oh, her husband does this, her husband does that for them. And you're not worried, and you're not focused on what your husband does for you. That shows that you have a poverty mindset. Now take that and put it in finance. You worried about this person's house as opposed to being happy with the house that you have and working with that. Not that you have to settle for that house. That's not the last place but you want what they have. And you so focused on that, you can't be happy with your own. That means you think the only way you can get it is to take from them. You see, that shows that you don't have an abundance mindset. There's plenty out there to be got, especially if you live in the United States or even the UK. It's plenty to be got. There's plenty of stuff out there. There's plenty of money to be made. You have to believe that wholeheartedly. If you don't, you're going to be broke because you're going to constantly be focused on this little bit over here that this person has, as opposed to going and figuring out how they got it, where they got it from, where the source of money is, and going out and getting that. Here's another one. While we all get jealous now and again, a person whose emotional life is defined by jealousy will often fail to manifest anything good. It goes back to that energy you put out. If you constantly worrying about what this person has, you constantly worrying about what that person has, you jealous of this and you jealous of that one, that's your mindset. You're a hater. Instead of being a hater, being a congratulator. Let me tell you something. I always am happy when people close to me come up. I'm always happy. I don't care if they win the lottery or settle a big case, get a contract playing ball. I train myself to be a congratulator. Basically, And I take it like this, and I look at it from a biblical sense. If it's going around there, that means it's close by. It's going to eventually come back to me. I just got to stay down and keep positive and know that it's out there for me. That's a better mindset to have than be hating on somebody for what they got, believing they don't deserve it. That's wasting too much energy. This is your mindset. Now, I'm not saying you can't ever get money with this mindset, but what I'm saying is this mindset that you pass down, that you harbor, will eventually keep you broke. It will eventually make you impoverished. It will eventually do that. That's what that does. Another tenet that I said, you make decisions based on fear. And this is a big one. How many of you all refuse to start a business because you're afraid to fail? How many of y'all refuse to invest in some sort of business, which probably could be sound? It could be a car wash, it could be a real estate deal, because you're afraid. You make those decisions based on fear, not logic. That's a problem. That's a big problem. More specifically, a poor mindset is primarily driven by feelings of fear. So even when you exercise your agency, you do so feeling like your back is against the wall. So there's a certain desperation going on with that. This means you focus on avoiding bad things and on protecting yourself from harm rather than concentrating on obtaining good things or welcoming positivity in your life. So in other words, you trying to hold this little $10,000 right here and just hold on to it, because you don't want anything bad to happen. When you could have gave somebody $5,000 on a house they're flipping, or $2,000 on a car wash that they're building, something that's this solid that you know about. And I'm not saying just go out there and invest in willy-nilly in stuff you don't know anything about. But what I'm saying is you're holding on to that money because you don't want something bad to happen. That thing bad being money goes away. You have to change your relationship with money. I see money as a tool. It's a tool that opens doors for you. And what you should be striving for is money that makes money for you. Passive income as opposed to earned income. Earned income is the money you go out and make because of your own efforts, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Passive income is the money that you've already made, money given to you or whatever, how it comes to you. You use that, and that money generates other money for you. Basically, on the other side of it, people are investing that money, and then they're giving you a cut of the money. That's passive income. Whether it be through rental property, whether it be through stocks and bonds, mutual funds, whatever, it's passive income. And when I roll through these, I have some other points I want to bring up to you guys, but I want to hit these main points for the academics in the room. This means, let me see, this means you focus on next. In addition, a life that is ruled by fear is also one in which the body is under a huge amount of strain, constantly producing stress and hormones. Let me tell y'all something. Any fool that tells you hustlers don't sleep will be dead soon, okay? Or you got to know, what's another one? You can sleep when you're dead. Let's get this money. You just an idiot.
Yeah.
You're just an idiot. You're an idiot for that. Okay? That's stupid, because health is wealth. If you don't have your health, you can't do anything. I've laid up in the bed with hundreds of thousands of dollars at my disposal years ago, you know, when I first started really doing well for myself. And couldn't get out of bed because I had a headache, or I was overweight, you know, way too much. My blood pressure was up. I was sad, had too much stress going on, trying to do it all myself. You see? Yeah, the money is great. And yeah, I was staying at work till like 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. But damn, you see what I'm saying? It was killing me. And so when people tell you that, you know, you put your body under that much stress, that's a bad situation. Don't do that to yourself, you know? And then when you stress out like that, when you're making decisions under stress, that's damn near as bad as making decisions, fear-based decisions. And so here it is. This means it's easy to get trapped in a never-ending cycle of anxiety, hardly ever sparing a thought for your own potential. Yeah, there you go. You see what I mean? You just stressed out all the time, as opposed to being cool, calm, and collected. Cool, calm, and collected when you are making decisions. You make decisions out of fear. That's not acceptable. The last thing is you focus on what you don't have, not what you do have. This is very important. When obsessing, and I'm gonna give you an example before I read this. So when I got to Houston after Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, I had so many people telling me what I don't have. You don't have a law license to practice in Texas right now. You don't have a base set up. You're not from here. You didn't go to school in a Texas law school or Texas undergrad. You went to school in Louisiana. What else did they tell me? You don't even have a house here. You don't really have a client base here. You don't really have a whole lot of family members here. There's a lot of Texas lawyers here already. This is what they told me. They were focusing on what I had or didn't have, as opposed to what I had. What I did have was 5 years of hardcore litigation experience, working on the worst of the worst car accident cases that my firm could send me. Being the only Black person in the firm, they would give me the worst of the worst cases, and they got their cases from other lawyers who gave them bad cases. And so I got the worst of the worst. And so I cut my teeth on the bones and the gristle of the so I knew how to work a case. And I litigated intensely. Most of my cases, I tried cases, I win everything I got, I litigated. So I knew the ins and outs of this particular area of law, and I knew what I was going to do. I had the experience, I had the technical knowledge, I had the degrees. Eventually what I did, I did my work, I took the test, I got the license to practice in Texas, and putting all that stuff that I knew, and I had the mentality and the business mentality to start my business. I have been watching these folks that I work for. They weren't Black, they weren't really trying to teach me anything, but I was still picking up what they had to say, and what they were doing. I was watching different kind of accounts they start, how they interact with people, what they said, how they move, and I picked up, so I was ready. So now, bam, this is what I did have. This is what I did have. And on top of that, I had about 54 clients, and I knew how to get new clients in. That's what I did have. I had an abundance mindset. I had a rich mentality. They had a poverty mentality. And the advice was coming from people who had that poverty mentality. So this is another thing. When you talk to broke people, this is why your kids are broke. This is why your kids' kids are broke. And this is why all y'all gonna be broke. It's because of that mentality that you have. And you passing it down from generation to generation like a bad recipe for cornbread. You keep passing it down. Everybody getting that same, everybody just every afternoon after goddamn Thanksgiving dinner, everybody got that same gas that y'all been passing down great granddaddy's cornbread recipe that he got from somewhere in Arkansas. From somebody who probably got it. Their family is passing that bad recipe down too. That's what the poverty mindset does. And you got to break that. You see, I broke that for myself. See all those people, and they're gonna call you hard-headed. They're going, oh, you don't listen to good advice. People get mad when you don't listen to their bad advice. Isn't that something? How arrogant are they? But anyway, as I said before, and I kind of gave you that example ahead of time, you focus on what you don't have, not what you do have. That's a problem. When obsessing over how to break poverty cycles, you may naturally feel drawn to thoughts about what you lack. After all, it's the lack that makes you want something different. However, this way of thinking itself is characteristic of a poverty mindset. This sign often accompanies the above sign of jealousy, as when you think about what you don't have, your attention quickly wanders to people who seem to have all those things you yearn for. As with any manifestation goal, training your thoughts on what you lack actually means that you unwittingly attract more of that. You around here thinking about what you don't have, and you're gonna keep not having stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's the, and it's like, I don't get into the spooky stuff. I don't get into all the spiritual stuff. But if you keep speaking something into existence, that's what you're gonna have. I've always told myself I'm one of the best attorneys in this region of the country. People appreciate the work. They might not like my attitude. They might not like how I talk to them, but they appreciate the results. That's me. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm good at what I do. And clients will keep coming. I went from bringing in 50 clients to 100 clients a month, or a year, to bringing over almost 1,000 clients in over the past 2 years, every year. You see, it's a mentality that you have. I said I wanted to do a television show back in 2014 about my family. By 2016 and 2017, I had the highest rated show on television here in the Houston area. It's a mentality of abundance. I can do it. Instead of focusing on what I don't have. Oh, you can't do it, man. You have no acting experience. You don't know anything about it. So I'll hire people to know about it. That's an abundance mentality. Instead of focusing on what I don't have, I focus on what I do have. So, you know, at this point, I want to thank Krista Joe. Thank you, Krista Joe. Thank you for your high vibration education. Thank you so much. And I want to make sure I give a shout out to Counselor Murray for the super chat. Counselor Murray says, I never understand that I grew up poor and didn't feel comfortable in that place. So I strive to get out of it. Now I have a lucrative career and living well. Some people don't realize that you only have one shot at it. Amen to that. And then, of course, one of my favorites, Volcano, says, salute Uncle in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Saeed, and I'm going to bring in Brian. Saeed and Brian, unmute yourselves. All right. How you guys doing today? All right. So you guys have had an opportunity to kind of hear my opening salvo and discussing the poverty mindset, figuring out whether you have it or not. Okay. We ain't talked about getting rich, because I got some other guys. I brought my Uncle Daryl here, who's a vice president of a brokerage firm. I brought him here. He talked about there's ways you can get rich. There's ways you can get money. But see, if you have that poverty mindset, man, it's not gonna work. You see what I'm saying? You understand what I mean? You're not gonna be able to hold it. Have you ever heard of these athletes? They get 20, 30, 40 million dollars, and then 5-6 years after they finish playing ball, they broke. You understand what I'm saying? It's that poverty mindset. But go ahead, brother. Take it from here now that you see where I'm coming from. What are your thoughts on this subject?
Yeah, I definitely have certain elements of it. I would mainly, I would say decisions based on fear.
Right.
I'm pretty good at, working, doing my 9 to 5, getting overtime, doing what I have to do to survive per se. But when it comes
to what you're saying is you're surviving.
Yeah.
You're not living. If you're just surviving, you're not really living, brother.
I would say that I have the ability to live per se, and I do live per se, but I definitely have a lot more potential. I have way more potential. And it's rooted in that, inability to focus on like the positive per se, like investments and so forth. I definitely have the ability to, but there is a comfort.
Do you believe? Yeah, I get it. Do you believe that you deserve more?
Definitely.
Okay. But go ahead, because some people believe they're comfortable where they are, and they say, well, I'm comfortable where I am.
Well,
they really don't believe they deserve more. You see? And that's why they'll settle with being comfortable where they are. That's settling right there.
I think you're right. You're right. 100%. You're 100%. I fit into that category. Definitely.
Okay. If anybody wants to come in, please come in. I'm going to put the link in the chat room. We need to talk about this poverty mindset. Basically, you broke, your kids broke, and your kids are broke. And you need to figure out whether or not it's you. Okay? It's you. Nobody owes you any opportunities, but there's plenty of opportunities out there. And you have to believe that those opportunities are available to you. The poverty mindset, you'll gravitate towards bad advice. You will gravitate towards people who give you advice that have the same poverty mindset as you. You don't get successful by that's not going to work. You're not going to change anything. Join in the conversation. Let's have this conversation. what do you think about moving forward as to your children? How do you train them out of that poverty mindset? What's your steps? And I'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing with my kids, but go ahead, Saheed, and then we're gonna go to Bolo TV.
Well, at this point, my children are 6 and 7. So, you know, I'm not doing a lot of
you need that. Hey, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. Go right on ahead, brother.
I think I'm more so focused on like character development, but in terms of you know, investments and so forth, I'm still learning myself. That's why I'm here. Like I'm definitely at the place where I'm, you know, trying to overcome some of those negative habits in terms of where I need to be in life. So, you know, I'm here to learn more than anything.
Well, let me tell you, man, you need to start. You how old are these kids? Your children?
7 and 6.
It sounds to me like you 6 and 7 years too late. You need to start immediately. You see what I mean? As soon as they can learn to speak, that's when you need to start talking about money and how they need to manage their money and how many opportunities are out there for them. And you need to give them a plan. You see what I mean? That's how you have to do it. I'll talk about that a little bit more. But Bolo TV, I'll get back to you, Saeed, because that's very important. In order to break these chains of poverty, in order to, I guess the people from the Bible people call it these strongholds, you need to start early. Bolo TV, man, what's cracking, man? Welcome back. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling? Thank you.
I'm good, man. So we are talking about this poverty mindset. Everybody's waiting around for somebody to. I saw so many comments. People say, "Look, we need to pool our money. We need to get together." Why would I pool my money with you and you have a poverty mindset? You'll be afraid to invest in what I'm willing to invest in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're 100%.
Let me tell y'all something, man. Let me tell y'all something as a black man. I got $100,000 in a case. One case. An environmental case. An explosion. I have done nothing but spend money on it. I could lose it. I could lose all of that. That's a lot of money. And I've been putting it in there since 2017, along with the time and energy that I invested in it. But these gentlemen that I'm dealing with, men and women that I'm dealing with, it's nothing to them because they're used to it. You see what I mean? This is the first time they've let me in. The reason they let me in because they vetted me over the past 20 years of seeing how I operate, whether I trip on them when I refer them cases. You know, they want to see who you're dealing with. You see what I mean? But they let me in. They let me in and I'm cool about it because we have a different mindset. Now, this case may pay off after it comes down from the Fifth Circuit. We may get anywhere from $250 to $750 million split between 6 law firms. You see what I'm saying? So add that up, you know? But if I'm the type of person that's constantly sweating them and bothering, oh, when is this case gonna settle? Can I borrow some money against it? I know I gave y'all that $100,000, but the COVID-19 is hit. They wouldn't want to deal with me. You see what I mean? You can only work with people who have the same mindset. So when you say stuff like, why can't we pool our money? You can't work with everybody. That's my whole point. But go ahead, Bolo TV, man. Chime on there. Let's chop it up.
I think basically what you're trying to say is your vibe attracts your tribe.
Hey, look at that.
You can't hang out with 11 broke people and think you ain't going to be the 12th.
Right.
You know, and you're 100% correct on that. You know, it starts inwardly, like the Bible's saying, then it emanates outwardly. So you have to be that example. You have to see what you're thinking. You know, it starts off with that plan, that idea turns into a plan, then it turns into fruition. It happens because you know you're not taking a no for an answer.
Right.
You're leaving with something. And you have to understand it. And when you have that mentality, that door that you were looking at to run through, even though it closed, another door is going to open up because you got your head on that swivel because you're looking around. And I think that's the problem. I think the problem with us is, you know, we're fearful, you know, and cognitive thoughts are based on logic and truth, and fearful thoughts are based on emotion. And I think that what we do all too often is be emotional and not logistical. Emotions have no context. You know, it's when you take that emotion and you add logic and truth to it, you figure out, what am I really afraid of? What can happen? They can only tell me no. So I might as well run through that door and try to make it happen. And I think that's what our issue is. I think that we've been taught to be happy with what we have, to be, grateful for what is given to us and not what we can take, not what we can go out there and be better at. And I think that's what stifles us in growth. That we're stagnant. We're happy with where we're at. This is what we're taught that we can be. If you don't have that example of a brother and uncle that's saying, man, you could do whatever you need to do, man. Put your mind to it. Let's go out there and make it happen. You may fail. A failure is not you failing. A failure is when you don't learn from that fall. That's when it's a failure. When I learn from when I fail, that means that's never going to happen to me again.
All right. Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So
yes, yeah, man. And see, here's the thing: you can't be afraid to fail. That's another thing. Exactly. But you have to plan so that you have to plan. You can't just go out there and say, well, my cousin who just got off crack, he started a car wash. He said, give him $5,000. That doesn't sound like a good, that doesn't really sound to me like a good game. That wasn't really thought out. You see what I mean?
When you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Right, right. Speaking of which, man, let me I want you guys to share a video. Today, I took my sons to Texas Southern University, which is a historically Black university here in Houston, Texas. And what we did was I explained to them what their plan is or what a plan is they can have. And I even went so far as to tell them why I have a plan for them. You see what I'm saying? And I basically explained to these boys in no uncertain terms that if they do this, they'll be successful. I'm gonna let you guys, this is us at Thurgood Marshall School of Law, which is on the campus of Texas Southern University. This is my son at Texas Southern University's Science Center, which is a huge complex. And this is us again at the Law Center. What I'm doing is I'm introducing them, I'm letting them see it. I'm letting them see the plan. So check this video out. We're going to talk about Saeed. This is for you. I'll be right back, okay?
That's the science department here at Texas Southern University. And this is where I want you boys to go get your bachelor's degree in science. And you want to be a medical student. And you want to go to medical school, so you got to take all your classes. The first floor is usually for freshmen. The second floor is biology. Third floor is chemistry. And the top is where the administration people are. So Dennis, you can get your degree in science and then go to law school. So I'm gonna show you where the law school is. It's on the other side of the campus. But when I was here, what I would do is see that I know a guy that owns that house, and so what I would do is rent a pass from him, right, and park right there. And so all I'd have to do is walk over here. I gave him like $100 a month, and he would let me park right there. You see what I'm saying? Right there behind that stop. So otherwise, if you park anywhere around here, they'll tow your car and all kinds of stuff. They're real strict about parking. Huh? But that's for the faculty to park. Okay? But this is Texas Southern. So look at this. Where are they supposed to park? Well, the faculty parks right there, but the students, if they let the students park on campus, there'd never be anywhere you couldn't be around here. But look how big this thing. This thing is funded. This is a brand new science building. They got a whole nother part of it on the other side. So this science building takes up a whole block. You see what I'm saying? So when people say stuff like HBCUs, which is what they call historically Black colleges, are underfunded, it's not true. You see what I mean? Look at this facility. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's huge. So you can go right here and get the top education right here at Texas Southern. That's what I want from you guys. And it's right down the street from my house. I mean, not right down the street, but you practice karate in this area, huh? Right, yeah. Yeah, your sensei lives right down the street, so you can still be in Houston. You still get everything you want. You'll be here with a bunch of Black people and brown people. You see what I'm saying, man?
All right, guys. So that was me making it real to my sons. And of course, as I always do, I want to let them speak to you on your behalf. Saeed has 2 children, and he mentioned their ages. And I'm going to get this let me get this screensaver off. This is Dennis and Roman. Can you guys dip into this view here?
Yeah.
So, Saeed, these are my sons.
All right.
I'm going to ask y'all some tough questions. Whoever get the questions wrong is doing 15 push-ups on their knuckles, okay? Don't embarrass daddy out here in these YouTube streets. You hear me?
Yes.
How old are you, little one? How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 13.
And how old are you?
I'm 11.
All right, so tell me, Dennis, 13-year-old young man, what is earned income?
Earned income is money that you work for, like money that you don't get automatically, money that you work for.
All right, and what is, sir, you got the tough question. You better get it right. Don't shame daddy out here in these streets. What is passive income?
Money that's always coming in.
Mm-hmm. And how do you, give me an example of how you can turn earned income and make that into passive income by some sort of investment. You could, whatever you want, whatever.
Bonds, if you do baseball, you can do bonds, and then you can get money from that.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of bonds, Dennis? What are good states to buy bonds from?
Hawaii.
And where else?
Florida.
I would say California. Yeah, I get it. California, Florida. And what's the return? Let's say the interest is 5% return annually on $1 million. Let's say you get a contract playing baseball, you get $1 million contract. You say, Daddy, I want you to call Uncle Daryl and get us a bond salesman. And we want to buy $1 million. I want to buy $1 million worth of interest. $1 million worth of bonds. And that's going to give me a 5% return every year. How much is 5% of $1 million?
$50,000.
All right. So, and do you have to pay state taxes on, or do you have to pay federal taxes on income that comes in from bonds? Do you pay federal taxes on bond money?
Yeah.
No, you don't. Do 15 push-ups. Roman, do you have to pay federal taxes on bond money?
No.
And do you have to pay state taxes in the state of Texas?
No.
So basically you get $50,000 free and clear. Now explain to me why all these football players and basketball players and baseball players go broke 5 years after they.
They're just giving away their money.
Right.
They're not using it in the right way.
That's exactly right. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? So you understand that when you get money, money is a tool, right?
Yeah.
Now, we went down to Texas Southern today. By you going down there and seeing it, what plan did Daddy give you? What's your plan, Dennis? Or what's your plan? What's your plan for school?
My plan is when I turn 14, I go into community college, and then I get my AA degree. And then in high school, when I take my SAT, it's not going to be a problem because I already have been to college. And so my GPA is already going to be there.
And what are you going to do when you finish with your AA degree? What school are you going to?
I'm going to Texas Southern.
And what are you going to major in?
Law.
Well, what are you going to major in before you get into law school?
Science.
Right. And why are you taking science as opposed to history and all those other classes? Why is that?
Because I'm going to be doing environmental law.
Well, that plus STEM is a lot easier to sell around the world. Roman, what's your game plan for school?
Same as them.
All right, but where are you going to go?
Community college.
And then where do you have to get a degree to go to medical school?
No, you don't.
All right, and what do you want to be when you grow up?
A neurosurgeon. And
how much do neurosurgeons make more than general practitioner doctors, or do neurosurgeons make less than general? All right. And so what are you going to do with that money? You going to buy a Ferrari and a fine girlfriend? Going to give all your money? No. What are you going to do with your money? Not just bonds, investments. Right. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate y'all. God bless you. All right. Now, Saeed, you see that?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, how long have I been working on you guys with understanding that? I've been working with the 11-year-old for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Since he was 6. Now that's as far as back as he can remember. So what I'm trying to tell you, brother, if you want to break that poverty mindset on your kids, you got to start early. Here's what I've given them a plan. They don't have that nervousness that other children have. You see what I'm saying? And they'll tell you, I told them the reason that I'm telling you what you're going to do and you're going to get it all done before you're 18 is because when you turn 18, you got too many rights. I'm not hiding from you. Yeah, you're going to do what I say till you 18, but at the end of the day, if you want to rebel after, okay, son, rebel. You got your degree. Okay, whatever. Rebel all you want to with your degree and go about your business. So what I'm telling you, that's how that works, man. You don't give your children an opportunity not to know. Anytime they can speak, you start talking to them about that. And you have to educate yourself on that. But in the meantime, look, we got one of my great contributors here, Attorney Brian L. Ponder, the credit doctor. He's here. Part and parcel of your financial breakdown and how you're going to live and breaking that mindset is whether or not you got leverage. You got leverage, and you got to have leverage. In order to have leverage, you got to have money. Brian, man, welcome back, man. Thank you so much for coming here, man. This is a great blessing to have you here. Go ahead and chime in, man. Tell us who you are and what do you want to add to this concept that we got going.
This is great call. Brian Ponder, trial lawyer, consumer law, credit lawyer, help people with their credit, debt, real estate. What I want to contribute is, earlier you were talking about the mentality of making more money. It's there's a saying, work smarter, not harder. All this don't sleep, hustling. That's all fine and good, but you're going to have to use your mind to make more money. There's only 24 hours in a day. And so unless you're in some highly paid area, it's not about how hard and how long you work, but being smart at whatever you're doing. Also, Dennis, I wanted to say that society is, well, first of all, what you're doing with your boys is phenomenal. I mean, that's the solution. That's the solution to the future, what you're doing. And so a lot of people need to just really, if you just can't get your mind right, and still like Dennis is doing and his kids and make a better future. But as far as people trying to improve their situation, there are a lot of distractions. The schools, the media, the radio, the TV, all that stuff is distraction. You're not gonna make any money watching TV. Did you see the football game today? I don't care about any football. Did you see this show? I don't watch all these series. All that stuff is major distraction. I was listening to the radio. When I'm cooking now, I'll let the radio play, and I was listening earlier. Some of these songs. I mean, it's just. I mean, it's really a distraction. Okay. When you have downtime, you need to be learning, reading books, and set goals. A lot of people are just out there wandering around trying to get some success. Just like with this pandemic. I don't know about you, Dennis, but this is probably one of my best years. Okay.
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah. And because I don't get caught up in the whole, it's pandemic, the economy is horrible. When the economy is horrible, that's when you can make the most money. Okay. I can't keep up with it. And so people have to really just become undistracted by society and focus on what they really want, educate themselves with what they're doing, be the best at whatever it is. And those are some things I wanted to hone in.
And see, the thing is, Brian, a lot of folks say people like you and I won't talk to the public. They say, nobody's teaching us how to do it. It's not our job to teach you how to do it. You're supposed to pay us to give you information. And if you're unwilling to do that, then you can't expect it for free. However, on this page, I will have professionals come in. I've had stockbrokers, VPs of brokerage firms. Brian himself, an excellent credit lawyer who practices all across this country. I have everybody here, but nobody, if you don't want to listen, then there's nothing more we can do. I try to make it a little bit more exciting and bring it down and make it real for you, but it's only so much I can do. I can bring the horse to water, but I can't make him drink. You see what I'm saying? So, the thing is, folks, you're stuck with that mentality unless you break it. You're stuck with it. And Brian was talking about something that is very important. It's something I want to hit. Work harder, not smarter. Let me give you an example that I had with my former in-laws.
Smarter, not
These folks were, work smarter, not harder. These folks were blue-collar people. They believe in putting in a hard day's work, using their hands, that sort of thing. My day starts probably at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm up looking at the news. I'm sending out emails. I may make about 4 or 5 different phone calls a day. That's pretty much it. I may type something when I have cases going on. I'll type something up, maybe a brief. I'll send it to one of the associates that we work with. Brian's worked with me before. He sees how it works. I'll send something around. We'll put it in rotation. All together, I probably don't go to my office that much. Even back before the pandemic, I didn't. You guys can see me on vacation hanging out, but my work was still getting done. I have more clients now. So I'm not working. I'm not doing a blue collar job. Now, unfortunately, you'll run across people who have a problem. They'll even go so far as to call you lazy. Here's the thing. If you're dealing with a woman who has that poverty mindset, she's not going to respect the fact that you get to sleep in until 10, 11 o'clock, and she's got to get up at 7 o'clock and go down to her job. She's going to be looking at you side-eye. She's going to try to find something for you to do. There's a famous football player, I forget his name, but he's worth $26 million. His wife has some kind of, I forget his name, Jay Cutler is his name, I believe, right? His wife is calling him lazy, even though he's already did the time and earned the money. And this money is working for him. Literally, he got $26 million and rising. And this woman is upset with him because now that he's not playing in the NFL anymore, he's lazy. Like, sweetheart, you get probably some of that has the fact to do with she now has to deal with him every day, but he's not lazy. His money is working for him. There was this movie that came out some years back called The Blind Side. And what you notice is the father of the house, he owned a bunch of Long John Silvers and other restaurants. And he would just ride around every couple of days and check on his businesses. And it was a story about the guy who played Michael Orr, who ended up playing for the Ravens. But he went to, I believe it was Tennessee, Alabama, somewhere like that. He went to, Mississippi Bulldogs, played left tackle, offensive tackle, and it just shows how he was adopted by this white family. But the nuggets of beauty in there if you were really listening. The father would ride around and check his business, but other than that, he'd be at the house all day. That's working smarter, not harder. But in order to be able to do that, you got to master your craft. That's a book it's a book everybody should read. And I know, Brian, I know you've read my books, Rules to Live By, How to Maintain Peace of Mind and Health. I think this is one of the first things Brian did after we met was read my books because he was trying to figure out how to do what I was doing. But the bottom line is, man, people will get mad. People with that poverty mindset will get mad with you if you're not using your hands, busting your fists, got a name tag on your shirt, going to the office every day, staying at 11 to 12 o'clock at night. The truth is you're losing if you're doing that. If you're doing all that work by yourself and you haven't figured out how to delegate that and get other people involved into that and work with them as a team to get them to do that work and motivate them and so on, then you've already lost. You're taking an L on that. But Brian, go ahead and you can follow up from that and explain more on that concept. But that's been my take on that. Oh, Brian, there you go. Brian, hey, Brian, are you there? Oh, I think we lost Brian. All right, Saeed, are you there? Oh, okay, Brian, there your volume's down, Brian. Yeah, we can't hear it. Bolo TV, are you there? Okay, no, I got you now, Brian. All right, Bolo TV.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so what do you think about the concept of working smarter and not harder?
That's the best way to do it. I mean, even if you are a blue-collar worker, it's always about working smarter, not harder, having the right tools to do the job, mapping things out, measure twice, cut once. These are things that you can learn to make your life a lot easier. And your life is supposed to, you're supposed to make the life easier for the next generation coming up. So you teach them the lifelong experiences that you've gained in living life, and you give it to your children and you set them up to be better than you. That's our job. Our job is to give them the direction, because they don't have the vision yet. They still got that sight of a mouse, right? Your job, because you see the bigger playing field. That's why the general is never in the field. He sees the whole thing. He's always sitting up high watching everything so that he can make the correct decisions.
All right, so Saeed, and I'm sorry, I want to get back to Saeed and his children because I think that's important. Saeed, are you there? Because I want to unmute Saeed. Saeed, are you there? Try to unmute yourself, Saeed, and come back in. I'm going to add the chat here. and I want to add the link to the chat if there's anybody else who wants to come in. Brian, I know you don't have any children right now, but did you see what I'm doing with Dennis and Roman?
Dennis, I'm telling you,
like
that's like, so. I mean, I shared it, and I said, well,
yeah.
you know, the future leaders. I mean, you're building the future by showing them, expanding their mind. And people, this works. What you're doing for your kids actually works for adults as well.
Yeah.
Okay. As an adult, I remember when I graduated law school, or about to graduate, I went to. I just went by Willie Garrett's office. You know, just just expose yourself. Okay. Yeah. Now, Dennis, you know, I went to law school later in life, but I met Dennis. I saw he was doing multi-million-dollar cases. And so I connected with Dennis. I met him on the beach in Dominican. I mean, I flew, you know, hours away, you know, just to rub shoulders. And next thing I know, we're doing a over $1 million case together. And so just expose yourself, just like you're exposing those boys. Those boys are going to be so comfortable when they get back to Texas Southern. It's going to be like their backyard.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's just awesome. So that applies to, you know, adults. You have to expand your mind. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to people. And you said earlier, don't take advice from people that are not where you're trying to go. Your peers will hold you back because they're limited by their mental exposure. Get with people that are above you that can teach you something. That's very, very important. These things are not very complicated, but you have to just implement it. This is not hocus pocus. It's for real. You have to do that. You know, that's it, Dennis.
Yeah. And so the thing is, Saeed is not here. Saeed is a gentleman who's on the line with us, but I can't get him, I can't hear him. I don't know, maybe he needs to unmute his mic real quick. But the thing is, what I'm saying is, and those of you who have children, you got to make it real for them. I basically tell my son, you're going to start here, or you're going to start at the community college. And we drove by the community college there. I just didn't take any pictures of it. We drove by the community college, said, you're going to start here, and you're going to end up at Texas Southern. You're going to finish there. Then you're going to go to this law school, and you're going to finish that. And here's what I'm going to do. Probably your first or second year in law school, I'm going to hook you up with your uncle at Wedbush Morgan, and we're going to get you an internship at the Wedbush Morgan legal department while you're a first or second year law student out in LA. And you're going to do that. You're going to work with them for about 6 weeks, and you're going to understand what they're doing in there. And so, yeah, Daddy does personal injury, environmental law. But what I want you to do is be doing transitions, transactional work, acquisitions, what's that called? Bankruptcy, mergers and acquisitions for some of these major corporations on Wall Street. So every time you touch something, you're getting 4 or 5 million. This is how I want you to run it, son. And you're going to go straight from Texas Southern, straight over there. Because oftentimes we see, Brian, and you know, man, you're an SU grad. You know, you're an SU grad, and we've stood in the courtroom with lawyers who went to Yale and Harvard
all the time
and whooped their ass all up through the courtroom. Federal court, Brian is in federal court too. And if any of you guys don't understand, federal court is the big leagues of practicing law. If your lawyer is only licensed and only deals with like state court stuff, he's respectable. But federal court, everybody is excellent. And so you have to be excellent. When I was working with Brian more often, I would call him the shooter, because I would bring Brian in to nitpick all the local rules and the federal rules, and he would nitpick everything and find a reason to give the other lawyer some work to do. Because if you want to fight, okay, I'll bring somebody. You know, there was this there was this movie out called The Devil in the Blue Dress. Yeah. And Denzel Washington's character called in his buddy Mossy from Texas. But that's what I would do. I would have Brian come in and roll in the case, and he would be the shooter. You know, like you go ahead and you nitpick anything they didn't do on their procedures, right down if they didn't put their federal court bar number on there, file a motion to strike. You see what I mean? We got packages of motions and whatnot that we've developed it, and I pass it to Brian, and he'll work on it and pass it back to me some years later. And so we constantly enhance it like that. And this is the relationship. This is what I'm saying, that earlier concept of making people around you better. This is how you get better. This is how you make money. That's a rich person. That's an abundance mindset. See, poor people are like, no, I don't want nobody to know my secrets. I don't want to share. I don't want to give away my
I don't want to split these fees, or I don't want him to learn. I don't want him to learn how I run my practice. Never that.
Right.
We made more money by cooperating together.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We've made more money by cooperating. And Brian has his own law firm. But what I'm telling you, this is the mindset. There's a reason why people like me and people who are successful, who have these businesses and there's a reason why we're successful. There's a reason why we're able to enter into law school and medical school and engineering school and start these businesses and restaurants and stuff. And I don't have any restaurants. I'm just using that for example. There's a reason why we're successful. It's because of that mindset. And if you change your mindset from a poverty mindset to an abundance mindset, you can be successful too. But as long as you do that, you broke, your kids broke, and your kids are gonna be broke. You feel me? So yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. So look, we're gonna run a commercial real quick because I need to get these cash apps up. But before we do that, I wanna let y'all see a little bit more of some of my musical endeavors. I know that you all are surprised at the fact that I got this going on, but this is what I do. I enjoy it, man. So y'all kick back and y'all enjoy it. This is called Lost Son, man. Enjoy the music. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks. Hey, if you're enjoying the content here at Dennis Sperling Unfiltered, make sure you support it by sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And also, hit that little notification bell in the corner so that you'll get notice of each and every one of our live feeds. The only time black men are allowed to speak is when it benefits others. So, hey, this is your opportunity to speak. I want to hear from you. And if you want to make this voice louder and clearer, then what you need to do is contribute to the Cash App, the PayPal, and the Super Chat. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions. I appreciate it. Let's keep it going. Donate to the Super Chat. Donate to the PayPal. Donate to the Cash App. It's your contributions and your donations that are cause for this platform to grow. Let our voice be the voice, the preeminent voice in Black America.
All right, everybody, we are back in action, and we are trying to help people determine whether or not they have the poverty mindset. And the thing is, once you realize you do have it, what you want to do is then begin to break that. And you break that by not doing the things that you have been doing that have been holding you in place. I want to thank Brian Ponder for chiming in. I appreciate that. But what you heard is two successful men who've escaped that poverty mindset. Trust me, in the Black community, there's plenty of people with that poverty mindset. You got folks who are what? They hate, they're jealous, they have they see you come up, they get angry about it. It could be your own relatives. This is what we're dealing with. And so you got to get away from that mentality. Specifically, as I said before, and I went over these quick concepts, your mindset determines, how successful you'll be. Here's another thing. If you have a poor mindset, it doesn't matter how much money you get in a lifetime, you'll end up being broke. That's not cool. You know what I mean? You don't want that. So don't do that to yourself. Jansen Austin, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. You guys, please contribute. If you appreciate what I'm doing here, man, you should contribute to the super chat. I appreciate you also contributing to the PayPal. I mean, I like to be able to continue doing this, but I don't want to take money away from my family to do this. In other words, I don't want to take money away to buy camera equipment and set up videos and these sort of things. And the time I take away from my, my own business, I need to make sure it's kind of reconciled. Of course, I don't think you guys can pay me for that amount, but make sure you contribute. If you appreciate what we're doing here, you always say our Black professionals don't give back. They don't talk back to us. Nobody's educating us. That's what I'm doing right now. So you guys appreciate it. You should contribute. So the PayPal is right there on the screen, along with the Cash App. And then you guys can always hit that button in the bottom to contribute to the Super Chat. It's right there for you to contribute if you appreciate what you're doing. So Money Green says you're not making money until you're making money when you're not working. Yep, that's called passive income. Incognito said, I finally got around, okay, allocating ETFs and stocks. I've let my money work for the long game. I want more business opportunity. Kalia Fatima Hassan said, yes, sir, could dance to this. All right, cool. Emma Z said, all right, I'm not okay. You guys, y'all talk about all that stuff, man. But anyway, I hope everybody has picked up some information. And if my 11-year-old or my 13-year-old son can do it, then you guys should start training your children about abundance. See, by taking these boys up to the university, by taking them to Texas Southern, I'm basically letting them know there's nothing to be nervous about. There's nothing to be afraid about. Don't worry. The fear is not, you're going to go here, you're going to go here, and you're going to go there, and then you'll be where I am. And then I can pick you up from there and teach you. That's what I'm teaching these boys. They have ridden around in European cars. They've ridden around in Bentleys and BMWs. They know they're out there. It's an abundance mindset that I'm teaching in them. They've flown first class flights, so they're not jealous of people who do. They're not envious. You see, it's around, it's available, it's abundant. There was a video that I posted here of a black man raising his nephew and basically saying, I bought my son I bought my nephew a $150,000 truck. And people are saying, oh, you need to let them struggle. They need to suffer. They need to understand that, things don't come easy. And my thing is, why not? Why can't I tell my son, you're going to go to this university, that why do I have to make them struggle and fill out all the forms by themselves, figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to get to school? Why do I have to make them suffer? When you make people suffer, you create a certain pattern in them that they become used to, and they begin to expect to suffer. So they then graduate towards the thing that's going to make them suffer because they don't feel worthy. You see, so what you want to do is, of course, hard work is important, but you also want there to be a reward. And you also don't want them to get to the point where they think that suffering is a normal course in a day. They want to recognize that, hey, you know what? This is just par for the course. But in actuality, life is supposed to be a little good because it's supposed to be good. Because if they get so used to suffering, then what's going to happen? They're going to gravitate towards that. And everything that goes with it. Everything is a struggle. They're going to look for the struggle. If it's not a struggle, then it's not normal. They're going to be in disbelief when good things happen to them. They're so pessimistic. So, I expose my boys to finer things. We don't overdo it. I keep them busy. I keep them hustling. They see me working. So look, what I'm telling y'all is, man, you got to break this mindset. You got to break it. But the first thing is isolate. So that's what I wanted you guys to do. That was the whole point of this. We're at an hour and 30 minutes. Usually this is as far as I go. I will put this up in the post for a little while. Okay, I'll put this link in the post. If anybody else has anything to add in, it's there. Let's chop it up a little bit. If you want to talk a little bit more, if you have any more questions, how can you go about breaking that poverty mindset? We can talk about that. But for the most part, family, this has been a great show. I've enjoyed it tremendously for Sunday. You've done very well. Thank you, everybody who's contributed to the super chat. You guys are awesome. Krista, who's coming up fast, man. She's going to be one of my best. Counselor Murray, and of course, Volcanus. Thank you guys so much for the contributions. Little and small, I appreciate it all. And of course, a big shout out to Jansen Austin. Thank you for the knowledge. I appreciate you guys. You guys say your professionals don't talk back. Make sure you donate. Your lawyers don't talk back. I'm open to you guys. I'm here to answer questions. Here's the thing: if you have a topic that you want to discuss, send me an email. Send me an email. We'll talk about it. I'll find a professional, somebody in that area, and we can go into it. And I'm going to use my knowledge and my ability to get the best answers and questions going so that you guys can really learn. This is what I'm here to do. I'm here to try to provide a service. Again, I focus on helping Black men become the best men they can be, financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, and we can all learn from each other. This is just one of those financial aspects. We are breaking the strongholds. that have kept us down. A lot of those strongholds are up here. That's that psychological thing we got going. They call it psychological slavery syndrome, but it's a whole lot wrapped up into that. That's just a big term that needs to be broken down. That poverty mindset is what keeps us broke. If we can get this, if we can get our money together, we can get our financial situation together, we can start hustling and making money. A lot of the other stuff we'll be able to afford to work our way out of. You can get therapists and other things and move around and move out of poverty. Then you know, some of the issues that we face won't be so compounded by the issues faced by poverty. So just, you know, if you guys appreciate what I'm doing here, man, make sure you contribute to the super chat. If the program goes off, the PayPal is right there, the Cash App is there, man. I'm here to chop it up with you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, everybody. You know, I put the screen up. Nobody wanted to top it up, so we're gonna end a little bit early. It's 1:30. Actually, this is the normal time. We've been going over late, like 2 hours, man. Shout out to Afro Patriarch. Thank you so much, Afro Patriarch. Always appreciate seeing you in the chat room. But other than that, y'all, you know, I think we're safe to cut it short tonight. And so, you know, at that point, I hope you appreciated my guests, and I hope you appreciated my son's honest assessment of what they've learned from me as far as in the areas of finance. Run this back, talk about, if you want to talk about this subject again, we can do it. I'll get some more folks in. I'll try and get my Daryl Sperling, my stockbroker uncle back in here. We can chop it up about money, but focus on that poverty mindset. Try to eliminate that. Try to get that out of it. But, you know, and try to weed it out of your children too. And make sure you get the likes up. I'm going to get out of here, but I'm going to leave the screen up. So I want you guys to, I'm going to leave the broadcast open for you guys to get the likes up. So I'm out, but don't forget, get these likes up as I get out of here, fam. Get the likes up, the share, subscribe to the channel. Send this, I want 1,000 new subscribers this week. So let's get that done. We had 6,000. I need 1,000 new subscribers this week. Let's make that happen. Talk to you guys later.